Good morning. Welcome to the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. We're in our 26th year bringing you mortgage real estate information. Ed Brittingham from RE Eclipse now, Ed?
Yes, RE Eclipse. Been there. It's going on 6 years now.
Fantastic. Ed, you've been around real estate a long time and, of course, stationed on the east side, but all around Southeast Michigan. You're always busy.
All around Southeast Michigan. Well, my office is there. We have other offices, and I am licensed in the state, so I don't go to Grand Rapids, but I have gone to the Lansing area.
Sure you will. You go where you need to go.
Go where the clients need to go.
Giving you 1 hour of mortgage real estate talk. Lisa Lawson, as she's plugging in right here. Lisa came all the way, of course, northern Macomb County. And good morning, Lisa. How you doing?
Hardcore East Sider here.
Yeah, you are. Would you get stuck in some traffic on the way? What's going on outside today?
Nope. I just was running behind. I'm having one of those mornings where I'm running behind.
That's okay. You're doing great.
You're entitled.
Yeah, we got sports following us all day, but Ed will talk about what's going on here in the mortgage and real estate world. Everyone's been asking the same questions. Are we finally seeing a housing inventory that's going to favor buyers out there? Ed, I'll start you off with that question. I don't know. Are things changing? What do you feel, or what are you seeing out there in today's real estate world?
This year we have a little bit more inventory, a little bit more sellers on the line than last year, but I think we're still in a seller's market because of the inventory level. But this year, more so than last year, I think more buyers are more educated and they're more focused on what they want. So they're being a little bit more apprehensive about submitting offers if it doesn't check all their boxes.
They're not settling. So even if they do submit an offer, if it's something that might be older and they need something repaired, like, a couple of years ago, if a home had a roof that was 20 years old, that really wasn't a negotiating tool. You know what I mean? Because you were just happy to get an offer accepted. Now it's like, well, you need to repair the roof, or I want concessions because I know the roof is only going to last a few more years. And I think there's a little bit more of that going on right now.
And I think there's a lot more of that going on after an offer is accepted by the seller.
So I 100% agree.
Even when it's disclosed by the seller, what they know about the property, and you can see it when you go to the property, you can see it's an older furnace, it's an older roof, and there's older this and that. Buyers are submitting offers with the hope that they can do the other negotiation for things that are obviously known to try to get a little bit of a reduction.
Yeah.
Ed, did you put that out there on social media? Because a couple agents did this week, just stating that a lot of folks are putting in offers and then sort of using the 7-day or 5-day inspection period to renegotiate when maybe they already knew that the furnace was, because it's listed on the seller's disclosure, that the furnace was already 30, 40 years old, or that the roof age was on there. Sometimes people want to go back, maybe after their inspection again. It's not that they have cold feet, Ed, but they're looking to get the best possible deal for themselves. They're going to pay top dollar for these houses.
Well,
and sometimes, there's some negotiations there.
Yeah, the negotiations are still there once during that due diligence inspection period. But when you're trying to renegotiate a price that you've already submitted and the furnace is working, it's operating, that's kind of a tough position to put the seller in because they accepted that offer in good faith, and now you're coming back asking for more than what, if it's unknown, okay, I get it.
Right.
And sellers get it. But trying to do another negotiation
on something that isn't new information.
Correct.
That's the hard part. Like, it's one thing, like you said, if you've disclosed all these things, that's fine. But if all of a sudden something's found during the inspection, sometimes the sellers don't even know.
Yeah.
Often sellers are like, wait, what? That's going on in my attic? I had no idea. Honest, bona fide, general things happen like that. And, that's definitely a point that can be renegotiated. But like you said, when sellers are like, hey, I've disclosed everything on my seller's disclosure. I said we had a roof leak 2 years ago, and, I've been very upfront about everything. And then you make, they accept an offer knowing that they've been forthcoming with all the information about the property. And then all of a sudden buyers are like, well, can we renegotiate? And there's a fine line there. You know what I mean?
It's not just renegotiating. It's asking for a substantial amount of a discount.
Yeah.
It's nice to see those pass-fail written into the purchase agreement. And it's always good conversation. So, it leads to what I already know is that the great agents are communicating. They're talking, both agents are talking and discussing these things. And then there's a group of the agents out there and or people involved in the transaction that the communications, it's not there, Ed. And now, there you go. Well, of course, then the inspector shows up. It's his job to point out all the deferred maintenance. And things might be great when you're negotiating with your real estate agent, but after you get your home inspection guy there and he's picking up the carpet and saying, well, there's a hole in the floor here. You didn't see that when you made the offer. So, I mean, these are things that pop up, Ed.
Absolutely. And home inspectors work for the buyer. So their job is to put that home under a microscope. So they're going to find everything good, bad, and indifferent. So I always counsel my buyers. I attend every home inspection. I always have. So I gather some of that knowledge from seeing and hearing and looking at what people are looking for. So I always try to educate my buyers that don't be alarmed by a report that's going to be 30, 40 pages long, because their job is to put everything
right.
So you know everything about the property.
Even brand new homes have
Correct.
little things. People don't understand. You can do a new construction and have a home inspection. They're going to say, nope, this needs to be fixed. This needs to be fixed. You got to put. There is no such thing as a perfect home. And I want buyers to understand that we're not talking about covering things up. This is not what we're saying here. We're saying you have to have a realistic expectation, especially if it's a home that's already been lived in. It's been pre-loved, right? And I think sometimes people are unrealistic. I've seen them where like, I've gotten people who are like, they get the home inspection done. The home is in great bones, but now they're nitpicking. You know what I mean? Like, I want a new furnace filter and I want this cleaned and I want that cleaned. I mean, just because they're grasping at straws, or, you know what I mean? People live in their homes, right? I mean, there is no such thing as perfection. I had new construction, still had things that needed to get, we'll call it zhuzhed up and fixed. It's just the way
everyone wants
it
that
is.
win-win. And again, as lenders, we
Right.
love to hear that. We love going to closings when the sellers and buyers are really hitting it off anyhow. At least one of the things that pops up, as we know, and Ed, of course, you do too, because you see a lot of this in northern Macomb and across southeast Michigan, is because we have we have a whole bunch of older homes. And back in the day, well and septic was popular in the outskirts of outlying areas. I mean, when anything outside of the Detroit limits, maybe the city surrounding it had the city water, but yeah, well and septic. So this is definitely a report that's a renegotiation, because if you don't have the proper paperwork showing that you've been cleaning and taking care of your septic and or the date it was installed and things of this nature, these are unknowns. And you get a well and septic company out there, all of a sudden that's a huge renegotiation. Now, I'll throw it at you, Ed, and I'll make some more comments after that.
That's a legitimate concern there.
Yeah,
so
that
if
one
you've got
is.
a well and septic, by all means, make sure you absolutely get that inspected. Because the septic system, there's been instances where the seller doesn't know where the septic is. Where's the they don't know where the field is, and there's no way to access the tank. So they have to search for it. So, and if they initially get a septic field put in and they've got a small cottage out there, and then they've built on or they've added to the property, well, that septic field and that septic tank is undersized for what the house is now. Mm-hmm. And they haven't made the changes. So get a good inspector. Mm-hmm. And most realtors know several good inspectors that are certified and qualified to do well in septic.
Yeah, the more knowledge you know going into a property. Sure enough, I always mention this, when families go up north, we're Michiganders here, we head up north. I'm going to go in the middle of August, going to head to Petoskey, and every time folks come back from a lake area, hey, I'm Harvey. They call me up. I get the calls Monday. I'm buying up there. And sure enough, my buddy from California was in. He says, you know what? I'm going to buy a place and spend my summers here. And now he's starting to send me these listings, and we got him hooked up on a portal. And he doesn't know what he doesn't know yet. So he's getting mad at me. Maybe he'll listen to this. He's getting mad at me because he points out a few houses. I'm like, oh, yeah, that one's really good. Why isn't it on the market for 90 days? Probably a failed well and septic. I go, did you notice the main road? If a house on the market for 90 days, there's probably some reason why.
Especially
if it's not price.
Style home, a vacation or second home, of course. People are going to be gobbling those up. Mm-hmm. If those don't get gobbled up right away,
something's
there's
going on.
An underlying issue that's causing it to be on the market longer.
Yeah. It's either, like you said, a failed well septic, or maybe it just started out grossly overpriced. Because people, if you have to make a lot of price reductions because you're trying to get top dollar in a market that, even though, yes, we've got some obviously great sales happening, but you can't go in 30, 40, 50,000 over,
pricing today isn't the same as it was 5 years ago.
Thank you. And people are still thinking that it is. And so they take a price reduction and another price reduction. And now all of a sudden you've got a property that's been sitting on the market. And even though absolutely nothing is wrong, and it's a beautiful home, nobody is looking at it now at day 21 because it's been on the market 3 weeks. And everyone's like, why has it been on the market for 3 weeks? It has nothing to do with the property itself or the status that it's in or the quality of the property. Is the fact that it wasn't marketed or priced properly. And that is still happening. I've seen it multiple times.
The days on market now are a little bit higher than what you would anticipate for a regular closing. So if something's on the market for 3 weeks, that's okay.
Right.
Because buyers are more cautious and they're taking their time. It's not the frenzy it was in years past. Now, like I said, the buyers are a little bit more apprehensive and they're more timid. So the days on market, while it's a factor, don't let it be a sole factor. If you see something that's listed for 21, 30 days,
no big deal.
Don't automatically bypass it because you think it's been on the market a long time, because it probably hasn't.
But 60 days.
If you're getting into 2 months and beyond, then it's something to take a look at and be a little bit more concerned in the matter of why.
Right.
But if it still interests you, go out and take a look at it.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the perfect property for you.
And sometimes they're willing to negotiate, because at that point,
absolutely,
sellers, I don't want to say they're getting desperate, but they really thought that property probably was going to sell a long time ago, and they're selling it for a reason. So usually you have a little bit opportunity there to probably negotiate.
Yeah, you're a little more flexibility.
A little bit more flexibility. Yep, exactly, because it's been sitting there for a minute.
All right, we take all your calls all morning long. It's 811-248-539-9797. It's a hardcore mortgage real estate business show brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. Always giving you some great information about buying and selling houses. Definitely interest rates burped up this week, Lise. We'll be talking about that a little bit more here today. Paul, you want to go to a break? Okay, dude, we'll start things off here with a quick break. Hey, keep it up. Turn up the radio here. We're going to go mortgage and real estate. Ed Brittingham from RE/MAX Eclipse. If you're thinking about buying or selling a house, give us a call. We got some helpful tips. And especially if you're looking at getting that approval letter, keep it here on 97.1 The Ticket. We'll be right back. That music, Paul, makes me think of football. Welcome back to the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show. We're here live at 97.1 The Ticket. We give you 1 hour real estate and mortgages. Brendan and Jeremy Otto will be filling in right after for Stoney. Keep the vibe going here. 12:45 pregame of Tiger baseball. Dan Dickerson probably, or maybe the other fellow who does that. I like Dan on the radio. He's the best. Tiger's on a little bit of a roll here. We don't want to jinx it. I never want to jinx this thing, but got some good vibes down there. You don't do baseball.
Ask me about football, I'm good, but I've tried many times. My best friend loves baseball. I can't. It's too boring for me. And I know they've changed the rules and it's faster now. And I've not given it a chance since the rules have changed.
Well, you are a huge Lions fan, so we like
I am a huge Lions fan. So
Ed Brittingham from RE/MAX Eclipse joins us here. Of course, if you're thinking about buying or selling a house, give us a call right here live in the studio, 248-539-9797. At Capital Mortgage, you could reach us all weekend long at 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. All the programs. At least before, you know what, I was going to dive into it a little bit. The mortgage rates did move up.
Yes, they did.
Last week. It's a little higher. It's 11-month high now.
It is.
So if cousin, uncle, or somebody important in your life told you that rates are down now, that's not the case.
They're big fat liars.
We started the conflict overseas.
Yeah.
And of course, geopolitical events always affect these mortgage rates. And then the way the economy is and the uncertainty. Rates are like the gas right now. They've jumped up a little bit.
You know, we always say you can't predict rates. And we've said this before, because I think it was not last year, but the before they said, rates will be in the mid fives by the end of the year. They were not. And then last year, rates are going to be in the mid fives by the end of the year. They were not. And then this year, they thought they would drop. And then not only have they not dropped, they've gone up. So I always tell people, if you want to buy a house and you can afford it, now is the time, because you can't wait for the perfect rate or the perfect scenario, because it's never going to happen. You're just going to shoot yourselves in the foot and end up paying more in the long run, you know, not only between appreciation of the property for the sales price, but interest rate. And lenders have no control over interest rates. And I think sometimes people think that we have some magic 8 ball out there that tells us what's going to happen. And trust me, if we did, we'd all be uber rich. But we don't. So we're relying on data that's, you know, everything from the jobs report to the treasury bills, and it's compiled. And even the best experts have gotten it wrong now for 2.5, 3 years about rates going down.
There's a guy who makes a lot of money out there making predictions on mortgage rates.
And
he hasn't been right in
wrong.
10 years. This guy's been wrong for 10 years straight.
For a long,
He's on a
long
roll.
time. So I always tell people, you know, yes, is that what they say? But I'm like, please take it with a grain of salt. And I said, I can tell you what the experts say and I can tell you what I'm going to do, but it's your decision. It doesn't matter what I would do. It doesn't matter what the experts are going to do. It really, are you comfortable with the payment? Do you've got the, you know, the money saved? You know, do you want to be a renter for the rest of your life and pay somebody else's mortgage? There's so many other reasons people should be buying a home. And there's other ways for us to, and I hate to use the word manipulate, but it should be more about the payment and not the rate, because eventually rates will fall and we'll refinance you as soon as it makes sense. I mean, that's not the issue, but it's getting in, taking advantage of the appreciation. Get in now. 5 years, your house is...
Get in on the game.
Yes. Get in now. Yes. It might not be the, 5-point or 4-point, whatever rate you wanted, but in 5 years, when it is, you will have already had 5 years of equity building and appreciation in your home instead of paying someone else's mortgage. And then whenever rates drop in the future and it makes sense, we do it then. And the other, I have somebody right now who's been on the edge to refinance. He reaches out every month and he's like, what are rates doing? Have they dropped? And I'm like, hey, and I finally said, is there something else going on? Because he's like, I just really want the rates to drop. He's like, I have debt to pay off. And I said, well, you should have said, like, I keep trying to pull teeth. You know what I mean? And he's like, I have this big debt and the payment's really high. And I said, again, we're going to refinance. We're going to barely change the rate that he's in. But his cash flow is going to increase exponentially because we're going to pay off this giant payment in this debt. And now he has breathing room. And his payment is barely going to change from what he's paying now. So we're going to do a cash out refinance. It just makes the most sense for him and in his situation. So sometimes it's about cash flow and it's not always about the rate. You know what I mean? If you're having a hard time keeping a roof over your head and food on the table, and you think that your rate is so great and you don't want to refinance, but everything else is stretched thin sometimes, taking the cash out, getting it back to one payment. Yes, it might be a 7 and maybe you previously had a 5.5. But if we've consolidated all of your debt and now you have another $700 a month or $500 a month in free money.
Gives you more flexibility.
So much more flexibility.
The equity has saved so many families. That's such a key point.
That got in at the right time because they weren't afraid to jump in. You can't do it if you're not part of the game, right? You can't sit there on the sidelines, or what do they say? The coaches, quarterback up what do you call it?
Armchair
quarterback.
Armchair quarterback. There you go.
Right. Sorry.
You're the football girl.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was trying to be baseball and it didn't work out. But, you have to play. You can't sit there and say, I've got all this equity. You don't have the equity if you didn't buy the house a few years ago. So there's so many other reasons, that people should get into this market. It's more about payment and cash flow. Obviously, rates, somewhat important, but that isn't the end all be all.
Yeah, the equity is very important.
Equity is so much more important. Generational wealth is built on equity. If you have an emergency, you can tap into your equity.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Even if, like, we have HELOC programs, you can get cash in your hand within 5 days on a HELOC.
Yep. And you're renting, you have no equity.
You have nothing. If something emergency happens and you need that, unless you've got a stash or a sock drawer with a roll in it, what are you going to do? So there's other reasons to become a homeowner besides just, I don't want to rent anymore, or my landlord made me mad, or whatever the scenario is. But you got to participate.
All goes to generational wealth.
Yes.
That's the key.
And the rate is just a tiny part of that whole picture.
Yeah, look at that total monthly payment. Highest rates, I hate to say it, since June 23rd of last year, 2025. Yeah. The silver lining, we had a little window there, so I was able to refinance some families. From July of last year to February of this year, we had a nice window. There was opportunity to save some money. And I took a lot of families. It was really nice. I had a couple of refinances where we went from a 30-year where they were already 1 or 2 years in, and they had the equity. So we lost the PMI, so their payment dropped there. Then they got into a 20-year.
Right.
Now more money is going towards principal and a lower interest rate. So again, get with the professionals out there. We'll talk all about that maybe later in today's show.
10 whole years, you wouldn't be paying on that mortgage that you originally thought you would be. That's huge. That's so much less interest.
And stopping the PMI is huge as well.
Right. But again, you got to start. So give us a call.
We are going to take your calls at 248-539-9797. We're getting pretty close to getting Sean up there. Let's go out to Sean out there. Hey, Sean, thanks for calling in. Well, you're the first caller of the day. Go ahead.
Hey, how you doing, guys?
Real good. Talk, loud and clear. Go ahead, right into that phone.
Yes. Well, I'm a fourth-year homeowner now for the first time. Going on my fourth year. My rate was it is kind of high. It's about 6.5%. My financial situation has changed sort of dramatically a little bit, and it's kind of going downhill since I bought the home. The home needs some upgrades and things like that, and I just can't afford it right now out of pocket. So I just would like maybe a little advice or so, how to draw money out of the house, if that's even possible.
Yep. So we'll definitely get into specifics off air, but there's a couple ways to do it. If you've been there 4 years, if you have enough equity, we could look at a home equity line of credit, because the rate in the mid sixes honestly is not high. It would be higher most likely now. So if we can, we'd like to preserve your first and possibly do a small home equity line of credit, because it would be at a higher rate, but that way we're keeping the majority of the mortgage at the lower rate, and then you could use that money to make whatever repairs and things that you need and want. If for some reason you maybe don't have quite as much equity as you think, and we have to do a cash out refinance, that might be another option, because there's some different overlays with those. But you could definitely tap into the equity to make those kind of repairs.
Sean, we see a lot of debt consolidation too. So Sean, sometimes someone like you might call us and they have 10, 20,000 of credit card debt, and they need 10 to 20,000 of home repairs. So if you've got the equity there, we do it all. You consolidate your debt, you get the money to do the home repairs. The home continues to grow in value because it's not falling apart.
It's being maintained.
You got to maintain that house. And Sean, just a quick question. What do you owe on the house now, and what do you think it's worth?
Probably, it's worth, as a matter of fact, I know it's worth about $145. I bought it about 70.
Oh,
about
nice
75. I bought it.
Yeah, there you go.
Now it's about $145. I was actually looking to sell, but I said before that I wanted to get some advice on maybe doing something else, going another option before selling.
Yeah, you go and sell. I don't know where would you live if you sold? Just curious.
Not sure. Probably move out the state.
Yeah, something like that. Well, if we would like to keep you here,
you have
Sean.
a lot of equity. It sounds like this is with the equity that you have, this is exactly what I was just talking about earlier, using that equity to work for you to make sure that you can stay in that home at a reasonable amount of money that isn't going to tap you out, right, and get everything you need done. So we'll definitely give you a shout out off air and get some specifics for you, but this is exactly what I was talking about
Sean,
earlier.
We'll give you a call right after the show here. Appreciate the call this morning. All right, keep here at 97.1 The Ticket, 248-539-9797. We take all your calls. Again, you got some equity built in the house. We can consolidate you. You've got a pretty good interest rate. Maybe consolidate your debt and then give you additional money to fix up the home. And that's what's key, is keep that house moving in the right direction. Not bad, though. Hey, he doubled his money in, 4 or 5 years that he bought.
Yeah,
this is exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Now you buy that house for $140, $150. We want to see that appreciation 4 or 5 years down the road. Now maybe it's 190, 200. It's just what goes on out there. It's just how housing is, Ed.
Yeah, that's how the housing market works.
Yeah.
So it always appreciates, or not always, but more often than not.
Well, technically it always does. You just have to wait enough time.
Yeah, you got to be patient.
You have to be patient. Yeah, we've had a little downtrends, but eventually it comes back,
We've had some affordability challenges in the past. Another surprising trend is the Gen Z buyers now accounting for roughly 1 out of every 5 purchases. I actually think it's more. Young buyers are still finding ways to enter the market despite affordability challenges. Yeah, there's the down payment assistance programs. That's number one. That there's opportunities out there. Really, at least we got all the different programs, but the Chenoa and the Mishta program. This is an opportunity for you maybe to get a seller's concession, get the down payment assistance, and maybe a gift or maybe a couple thousand of your own savings. You can get a house. You don't have to break the bank to get into home ownership.
Yeah, not anymore. I mean, there's 3% down conventional programs. There's 3.5 FHA, but even within those, we do down payment assistance through, like you mentioned, Chenoa, of course, the state of Michigan. There's National Faith Home Buyers. Even specific cities, like the city of Port Huron has a down payment assistance program. So call somebody who knows what they're doing so they can explore all of the options.
Lots of tools out there to bridge the affordability gap. We'll talk about that. If you want to become a homeowner, keep it here on 97.1 The Ticket. It's the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show, 248-539-9797. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the show. We broadcast till 9 o'clock. It's 8:30 here in Motor City. Awesome day outside. Yeah, we're going to get out there on the boat. Be safe if you're doing some boating today. I'm an inland lake guy today. I'd love to get out to St. Clair, but I'm not going to make that call. I'm definitely doing the inland lakes today. Where are you going?
I'm leaving. My best friend from Texas is in town, Howdy Barb. She's probably not listening because she's from Texas and she's, it's early. She's like an hour behind us, but we're going to the Morgan Wallen concert tonight.
Oh, congrats. I forgot Morgan Wallen's in town. No, it's not true. I will not be walking out with Morgan. Maybe Jeremy Otto or Brendan or something, one of these big shot guys.
She texted me yesterday. Yeah, I was like,
who's the walkout? They make a big deal about this.
Yeah, Aiden yesterday walked out.
Oh, he did? Okay.
Aiden Hutchinson.
Fun stuff.
But I said last time we were here and we saw him, it was Jelly Roll. We went and saw Jelly Roll and he came out with M&M. So I texted her, wouldn't M&M be a better idea? But hey, what do I know?
All across Southeast Michigan, always great things to do here. We've got, all the different venues and, of course, a Morgan Wallen show with over 100,000 people tonight. It's going to be really exciting for a lot of folks. What a great area, too. We got a lot of Ann Arbor listeners. I've been fortunate enough to do a lot of business out that way throughout the years.
Too.
And what a great city Ann Arbor is. And other than you probably trying to find a parking spot for $100 or less tonight, just a great area. All the different great areas.
We got a hotel, so it shouldn't be a problem.
Oh, you guys are partying the right way.
Well, it's late. And I'm old now, and I don't drive so well at night, so I didn't want to have to worry about that.
And you have somewhere to park.
Yeah, and I got somewhere to park and get ready and not have to worry about anything.
Ed, a lot of real estate agents out there. I ran into a lady last night even. I said, hey, what's going on? You've been keeping busy? And she said, yeah, I got a lot of listings. That inventory's up, Ed. We're seeing inventory up all across Southeast Michigan. One of the agents who came in, and a group of agents we had a few weeks ago, said, Harvey, you get lots of inventory, but there's a lot of stinkers out there. But there's more opportunities out there, and you don't have to overbid as much, and you need to have that education on crossing off the boxes, figuring out what your wants are. Your wants and needs are really, really important.
Because there's not a property, even if you build it yourself, you're not going to have every box checked. Mm-mm. You have to look for something that is going to fit you in that time of your life. So if you're younger, you're looking for a first-time home, go in with the mindset that you're not going to be there forever. So if you can make it work, if you find something that can work for you based on location and the features of the home, pull the trigger.
Yeah.
And get in and become a homeowner.
Get some confidence behind you. I wrote this down. The hottest debate in real estate today is whether the rates will go down. It's whether buyers will wait for lower rates. When they do, you keep waiting. Guess what you're going to find? You're going to run into some higher priced homes in the competition. So again, we always talk about these windows of opportunity. For some reason, going back to school time is kicking in right now.
Correct.
October's, we close so much right now. We always are busy in the real estate and mortgage world. August coming up, August, September, October, somehow becomes very, very busy. And I think one of them is families realize, hey, look, now's the time. Let me move into that next step up home.
There's a misnomer that more homes sell during the off season, the school season. Well, there's a little bit of truth in that. Life changes and life happens for everybody throughout the year. So that's the peak season, correct? Because that is traditionally when more families are looking to move outside of the school season. But those without families or without children or school-age children where that time frame doesn't matter.
Right.
People buy and sell all through the year.
Absolutely.
And today's market's not about these rates. It's that uncertainty. That's what this show's all about, is really giving you the confidence. I've always said that about when I got into mortgages, and I felt like as a young buyer myself, I got into the industry, then I bought a house, and I felt like, wow, I have all this knowledge behind me.
Correct.
Having the knowledge gives you the confidence. Those two things are key. Some folks are willing to make the bold moves while others are just scared off by the noise. We see that in a lot of different industries.
Absolutely. That's 100% true, Harvey. So if you're hearing a lot of, as you said, noise, someone might have bought a house 5 years ago, 10 years ago. It's a different market. It's a different game to play now. With the NAR and the Department of Justice settlement, there's a lot of industry changes. So those inventory changes or the industry changes are affecting the buyers and sellers now. Even 2-3 years ago, it didn't have that effect on the market, or not the market, but the process.
The process, yeah. Yeah, and I think there's still, speaking of NAR, people might not understand or know what that is. So, Ed, why don't you tell them? Because on the radio, they might not know.
So the National Association of Realtors and the Department of Justice entered into a settlement that changed industry practices. So in order for a buyer to see a property, you have to have a buyer representation agreement, or as in Michigan, a service provision agreement is what it's called under license law. You have to, in essence, you have to have a contract.
Correct.
So there's either a contract to see a property as showing where there's no expectation of any monetary gain from the agent showing you the property. There's a limited buyer representation agreement where, okay, I'm going to show you this property or these properties for this day or this weekend. And then you have an exclusive that can be a time frame that you and the buyer's agent agree to.
3 months, 6 months, whatever it ends
Correct.
up being. But that's a big deal because it means back in the day, people be like, oh, I found this popped up online. Can someone just take me a quick show? You can't do that anymore.
Correct.
It is 100% illegal. You can't just call an agent and say, hey, can you quick run me through this property? I'm not pre-approved. I haven't done anything, but I saw it and I like it. It shows that you're
Can you show it to me?
You can. The answer would be legally, I cannot. So there's been a lot of changes, and the reason why there's experts in this field is because we want to make sure that you are ready. So when something like that happens, you could be like, oh, absolutely, I can show that to you. You know what I mean? And here's why. And I've had clients call me and say, I wanted to see this, and this agent wouldn't show it to me. They said to have this, and all I can do is say they are correct. There was a couple of years ago, there was a settlement. They cannot have anybody see any property without you signing that. Now, you don't have to sign one that says 6 months. You can sign one specific for that house, specific for that day. Like I said, but you absolutely have to sign it if you want to see it. And I don't think people realize that. I think they think there's getting
still a lot of
a lot of wool over their, and they have this trepidation because they think, I don't know, maybe they think they're getting scammed or punked, but no, you are not. That is the law. And I don't think we've talked about that enough here.
As we see that, though, in effect, it's old-fashioned real estate still. It's generally speaking, Ed, sellers know that they're going to be paying a commission to the selling agent who's representing the listing agent, and then to the buyer's agent who's going to come in. So it's sort of a well-known thing. Now, as much as it's a well-known thing, it's still got to be in writing because it's not always well-known.
It's well-known in the industry.
If
folks don't know, buyer and seller are not in the market or they have not been in the market, many of them don't know.
How many times, Harvey, do you have a home buyer say, how does my realtor get paid? How do they get money? Do I pay them?
They still do ask those questions, right?
That's what I'm saying. They honestly.
So that's
they don't know. And
that's
guess
all
what?
on the agent. The agent should have had that conversation during the buyer consultation meeting and find out and explaining how the process works.
Correct. And now it used to be always that the seller side paid all the commission, but since this change, technically it's all negotiable.
It's always been negotiable,
but I mean,
currently sellers don't have to offer a buyer compensation.
Correct. Which means sometimes the buyers pay it.
So sometimes it's going to be there, sometimes it's not going to be there.
Right.
And sometimes all of it's going to be there, sometimes it's going to be a part of it there. Depends on what's negotiated and what's comfortable for the seller.
Correct.
But on the seller side, with the results of the industry changes, before, like you mentioned, Harvey, it used to be on the MLS system that the broker holding the listing and the broker with the buyer's agent, there was an agreement with the MLS that X percent would be paid for the seller, X percent from the buyer.
Yep.
That whole system is gone.
Yep.
So now it has to be on the purchase agreement. The purchase agreement either on the purchase agreement itself or an addendum to the purchase agreement clearly stating the compensation and who is paying for it.
So I have a question, and it might be a volatile one, but hey, this is hardcore, so let's get it out there.
It's something. Go.
So sometimes I've been hearing that listing agents do not want to offer any compensation for buyers, meaning I'm giving I'm going to pay the 3%, but the buyer has to come up with their own money to pay commission for the agent, and they list it that way, right? And then all of a sudden they're like, well, I'm not going to get as many people visiting my property. Because especially for people like first-time home buyers who've already scrimped and pinched pennies and everything else, right? They might have enough to get in, and they might even need a little bit of concession, or maybe we're using down payment assistance. They don't have another quote-unquote 3% of the sales price for a $200,000 house to give the agent who's helping them buy. And so I've got people who are like, well, I'm not going to see any of those listings. Is that happening? Do we hear this? Is this true?
It's not happening like that because it has to be in the purchase agreement.
Right.
So if when you're a buyer's agent and you're negotiating that with your buyer, you have in your agreement, and most of them that I've seen has that the buyer's agent will attempt or solicit the seller for all or some of that compensation that they've agreed to with the buyer. That goes on the purchase agreement, and it's negotiable.
Right.
So if you need to add to the purchase price to incorporate the compensation for the buyer's agent on behalf of the buyer, you do that as long as it appraises for that.
Right, as long as the value
If it
supports
doesn't appraise for what you've put it on the purchase agreement, there's another negotiation there. At that point, the agent and the buyer can negotiate, well, you've agreed for this percentage. I'm able, or the seller's able to give that percentage. So the agent and the buyer, they have to be comfortable with that percentage.
And then sometimes buyers come up with the difference. I just
Correct.
had that happen. So I just had one where the buyer had to come up with the additional 1% because that's how it was negotiated. So they paid 1% of it.
Correct.
So, it's all about negotiation. And what you don't want is get yourself in a pickle where you think you understand something and all of a sudden you're trying to come up with money you don't have. And that sometimes happens too. So read your fine print, work with an agent who understands what's going on.
All right, the never-ending conversation of how do I remodel my house? Harvey, I've got a great mortgage rate. I don't want to touch it. I don't want to refinance that. Get that home equity loan first. Maybe then when the rates drop a year or two, maybe they never drop, but you've got this home improvement loan separate from your first mortgage. We'll talk all about that and how to get your house remodeled. We got a good caller coming up. Keep it here on 97.1 The Ticket. We'll take more calls at 248-539-9797. We'll be right back. Alrighty, welcome back to the show, 845, the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show here on 97.1 The Ticket, our 26th year. You're thinking about buying a house or refinancing, you need some cash out.
26 years.
26 years we've been doing this. 248-539-9797. We're going to thank John for calling. Let's go out to John in Washington. Good morning, sir, and thanks for calling in. What's your question?
Good morning. I have two bathrooms that I'm looking to remodel. One's in the master. It has the old whirlpool tub in it that I'd like to remove.
Right.
The other one's a Jack and Jill that has the old fiberglass enclosure. And what I want to know is, can I convert one or both of those to showers only and not have a bathtub at all?
Yeah.
My instincts tell me no, but
Are you doing
for
this
resale, I'm interested in that.
resale?
Yeah, I mean, there's no
Ed,
doubt you can
I'm
do
gonna
whatever you
I was
want.
going to say, it's your house. You do whatever you want. But Ed, how do you feel about that as an agent?
I think it's your house. So when I have buyers who are going through there, I've never had someone that said, I don't really like this house. There's no bathtub.
I'm going to say I've heard it.
But it's not very common. So, I mean, if you have...
So at least to have one bathtub.
If you're going down to one, if you have room for one, yeah, keep one if that's a concern for you. But the master bathroom, I would do shower all day. I wouldn't put
less and less families are using the shower. You can convert it back. You know what?
You mean
a hot tub outside?
You mean bath?
They're using
Bathtub.
The bathtub. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I have the corner whirlpool doozy myself from my new construction home that's almost 20 years old, and my husband knows if he's listening. I don't know if he is, but it has been like my pet peeve, and I want to yank that sucker out so bad and do a nice zero entry, super large.
John, funny. I built a custom house years ago and put in that. It was like a triangle whirlpool tub.
Right.
I'm going to say again. Now that house is about 20 whatever. It's built in like 2000, so 26 years old. I think that hot tub. I was at the house yesterday. I think that whirlpool tub in the master bathroom was used 3 times.
I used to use mine all the time. I'm not going to
years.
lie, but it's probably been 5 years since we've even had water in that thing. Like, it's literally just sitting. It's so stupid. It's wasted real estate.
So we need a poll on that.
Wasted
Couldn't
space.
agree more.
Yes, thank you. Right.
I
So
would-
do
I
what
would
it's your
definitely
house. Enjoy it. Do what you want to do.
Yeah, do what you is going to work for you. Because I hadn't.
And then call me back and let me know how it goes. So I'm going to convince my husband so we can get rid of ours. Please.
I want to do it, John. It's a great question. I want to do a
That's
poll
a
on
great
it
one.
next week. Is it a deal killer that the master suite or the house itself doesn't have just a regular tub?
I would say no.
An
The only
old-fashioned
thing I can think of is if you have little kids, do people still do baths for little kids? Right.
Yeah.
I apologize.
That
I'm
would
thinking
be
maybe
it.
need one tub if you have a family, I would say, and maybe in the house.
So the Jack and Jill in your case, John, I would, if you're concerned about resale and thinking that might be a sticking point for somebody,
to
keep
keep
a
the tub
bathtub
in the
there.
Jack and Jill
But
bathroom.
in the primary bathroom, I would get rid of that tub all day.
Put a gorgeous shower with all sorts of spigots pointing at you,
all,
right?
all the bells and whistles.
That's what we're looking at.
There you go.
Great call, John. I really appreciate it. Thanks for joining
was a
our
good
show
call.
today. We love that kind of banter back and forth. This is what makes housing fun. And it's
Absolutely.
part of your wants list.
And it's
A
all
garage
individual.
or a bathtub.
So
Right.
that's one of the things that you're going to look for if you're looking at wants and needs. If you want a shower with all the bells and whistles in your primary suite, by all means go for it, because you're going to have to enjoy and live in that house. And someone that comes in after you, they're probably going to love it too.
Hey, if the bathroom's big enough, buy the external tub. You see them right in the middle, smack dab in the middle of the room, taking up a lot of space. Some of them are pretty. You could put gorgeous faucets on them. You
nice,
see them
but-
still.
I mean, some are used. I'm sure some people use the bathtub and they like the soaking tub and such. But in his instance,
Get rid of it.
I would get rid of it.
Get the hot tub outside. There you go.
Absolutely.
I love that. We will do a poll next week on that anyways. Well, one of these days, we're going to do a wants and needs list. What are real deal killers? What is a total something you need here in Michigan? And I'm going to go out there and say it. I need to put new garage doors on this house out of my girlfriend's old house and stuff, because I am not scraping ice like I did last winter. One of the things in Michigan is the garage. It's important. And some houses don't have them. We have seen where families build enclosed things over that. Again, just trying to keep the snow off in the winter, because a lot of garages are filled up with, I got kayaks, I got all sorts of
Storage.
garbage in there. Yeah. So, hey, pull out the clutter. Clutter's never good for anybody. Let's move off to, hey, can we ready for him, Paul? Now, almost. Yeah, we'll go with Chris out there in Fowlerville. Hey, Chris, good morning. What's going out in Fowlerville today?
morning. You know what? Funny enough you say that. I'm headed to Home Depot. I'm building a shed to declutter my garage.
There you
I
go.
know, there she is. Right, so you can get another car in there or something, right?
You got it. Yeah, the wife likes to park inside these Michigan winters. So,
Ditto.
but no reason I called. First and foremost, I've got a 1.5-year-old son. If you take my tub out of my house, I'd be in a bad way.
Yeah, that's
So,
what I said. If you got little kids, I
just
think
the
you
last
need to have
caller.
one.
Got it.
Well, in
Got
the
to have a
primary
tub.
bedroom.
So don't want to alienate yourself.
Yeah, that's true. That one of the things is if you have younger kids in the house, I mean, you
Yep.
don't want them in the kitchen sink. You could. There's utility sinks. You could.
I prep a lot of raw food in my sink. I don't want my kids in there, but hey.
Funny, Chris. Hey,
The,
Chris, what are you going to
other
put in
reason
the
I called,
shed?
I've got, you know what, all my tools, funny enough. So I've got a couple of shelves, some tools and whatnot. But main reason I called, I'm in a really particular position. I bought the house that I'm in it's a new build in 2021. Interest rate sub 3%, and I have about $150,000 in earned equity. Been exploring some ideas for possibly utilizing a HELOC, but trying to shop around who might be the best. I'm a veteran of the Marine Corps, so Navy Fed is in the court. I've got them available. They've got a couple of options. One that is a interest only payment, and their draw period's right around 20 years, which is one of the longest I've seen.
Yeah.
You know, I heard you guys mention that you have opportunities for a HELOC.
Yeah.
You know, in cash as soon as a
5 days.
week or so. Just wanted to run through, what my options are.
Yeah.
Like I said,
I've actually closed quite a few of
150 in
them.
earned equity,
Yeah.
and I'm looking to pull 75, but probably only use 10 to 15, putting some new floors and adding a bedroom for grown family.
Right.
Good
so
for you, and thanks for serving. And Lise, give us some
we have
information
quite
on
a
the HELOC.
few. In fact, I can just explain. Just did one. It was a 30-year HELOC. Same thing. Where they do, but you can have it as interest only for part of the time for the first 10 years. We have it where you pay it back right at the time. We have it where you can do draws for the first 20 years. That we have them for 10 years, as little as 10 years. I mean, we have literally run the gamut. There's two that we have, like what we call quick funding, that you can literally get your funds in 5 business days. And there's no appraisals required. But the interest rates obviously are dependent on credit, how much equity will be left in the property, and is obviously the length of the term. So the longer the term, obviously the slightly higher. If you do a shorter term, slightly lower. But so many options,
Okay.
so many options.
And
And then obviously
Chris-
we have a standard one where somebody
gotta-
comes out, looks
Chris,
at your
let
house.
me throw this at you too. I love it. So did you check this out? It sounded like you might have been in a newer community. Are you okay with the shed as the association, or if you're not an association, are you okay throwing a shed in the backyard?
Oh, 100%. I do have an association. You just have to have it approved. And then as far as the township's concerned, they just ask that you stay out of the utility easement off the back line.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, are you going to put a concrete pad down? Are you going to pour some concrete?
I actually, so funny enough, walls are up. I poured them on. I did it so I could actually possibly take this shed with me later if I chose to
smart.
do so. I've got some concrete foundations in some sauna tubes, and then set it on 4x6. So it's essentially just a shed that I take out some fasteners and have somebody load it up on a truck, take it with me.
Well, you'll throw all your junk in there, but the next people buy the house, that'll be the wife's she shed. It can turn into a hangout spot down the road too. You're
I've
not
seen
taking
men
that with
turn
you.
them into like a nice bar.
Oh, yeah,
have you
they're
seen
cool.
it? They're very cool looking.
I'm like you, Chris. Hey, Chris, thanks for the call. I'm like Chris. I'm driving around these Home Depot parking lots and Menards. They got those buildings, those outbuildings, and I always say to my girlfriend, "There's your she shed," and more importantly, we could put the lawnmower in there too.
I think that'll end up being your space.
Yeah, you go in there. You get to hang out there. 248-539-9797. A couple more minutes here if you want to get in a sneak a call in. Existing home sales did fall a little bit in June, 2.4%. The median home price reached a record high, though, of $440,600 nationally. Folks, it was just 5-6 years ago. I was telling you the national average was 300, 302, 305. We're at 440 now.
Wow.
We shouldn't have to come on a radio show and beg people to buy housing. Just give us a call. We'd run the numbers for you. It's all free. Doesn't cost anything to see if you could become a homeowner if you're currently renting. Again, things you can do, Lise, is get your credit in order. That's
My
the first
favorite.
thing. Yeah, we always credit. Just touch on that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, everyone thinks, and I think there's a fear, like they think they won't get approved, so they don't call. And I always tell people, well, that's never going to change if you don't start somewhere. And I love credit. Everybody knows it. It's my favorite topic. I love fixing it. I love telling people how to fix it. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. I do some pretty great follow-up with them, and I hate to use the word manipulate, but there's a lot of misinformation about credit out there.
Yes.
And people sometimes are being responsible, but don't understand why they don't see the corresponding score. And that's about not understanding how credit works in general. So we can, especially with those types, like I said, I'll manipulate the heck out of that.
At least one of the things is I had a client with a couple collection accounts, and there's no doubt. So I said, don't just pay them. Call the company and see if they'll delete them.
Yeah.
You can make an agreement with some companies. Hey, I didn't know about this collection. We had moved a few times. Make the extra phone call and say, will you delete this if I pay you in full? So that whoever that collector is calling the credit bureaus and saying, this is deleted. They've paid it, or not just paid in full. Oh, no, it's deleted.
Deleted, like it doesn't even exist.
It never existed. They had paid us. There was a mistake made, and that'll help improve your credit especially over a couple months.
Yeah, absolutely. Same thing with late payments on credit cards. So that's a really big deal. Everyone's like, hey, I've been on time. I had somebody didn't realize had a change for auto pay, right? Switch bank accounts, forgot to handle this. Got a 30-day late. And I said, one time only. You've been with them 7 years. Just ask. Sure enough, they removed it. So
make that extra phone call. Yeah, especially on your home equity lines. Lates on home equity loans, fixed rates or installment loans, anything. That's going to show up. It's going to ruin your credit score. They look at the mortgage payments. They look at the home equity, then the car payment. Those are the most important things on the credit model. Hey, Ed, thanks for joining us. It's the end of our show here. So Ed Brittingham, RE/MAX Eclipse. Always, Ed. Thanks for coming in.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me.
All right. You need a great real estate agent. You call us at Capital Mortgage Funding. We know all the great ones. 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. For Lisa Lawson. Have a great day, Lisa.
Thank you. You guys too.
I'm Harvey Free. Keep it here on 97.1 The Ticket. Sports all day long. Go Tigers.